What's going on, guys? Before we dive into Mel Kiper's mock draft, I got challenged by our Saints Now channel here at Chat Sports. They declared battle on us in a video they put out yesterday where it was a like battle, and they picked up 431 likes. I don't even want this to be a competition. Let's hit 1,000 likes on today's video. Help me out. I don't want to go out there in the bullpen and get chirped at by Trey Sherrard for the next couple of days. So if you guys want to, help me out and show some purple pride, like today's video. All right, let's do it. I am fired up for this. Mel Kiper's first official mock draft this season. Anytime Kiper drops a mock draft this year, we will have a video for you guys. And in my opinion, Mel Kiper's the best in the game, and we're going to be diving into his mock draft here. But let's just dive into the first 10 picks, with obviously the Vikings having the 11th overall pick. The Bears in his mock draft did take Caleb Williams, number 1 overall. Then the Commanders ended up taking Jaden Daniels out of LSU. And then the Patriots at 3 took Drake May. The Cardinals at 4 getting Marvin Harrison. Brock Bowers, the tight end, going number 5. And then Malik Neighbors, top right of your screen, heading to the Giants. Titans taking Joe Alt. Falcons taking Dallas Turner. Bears taking Roma Dunze. And Jets taking Olu Fashanu. Overall, if you guys look at these 9 out of the 10 picks, honestly, here in the first 10 aren't really a position of need for the Vikings. Obviously, quarterback is, but Vikings don't need a tackle. Vikings don't need a wide receiver. Vikings don't need a tight end. And that leaves the Vikings to draft this guy. The number 1 corner, according to Mel Kiper, is Nate Wiggins out of Clemson. And I can already see you guys in the comments section. No more Clemson corners. No more Clemson corners. Obviously, just because our man Andrew Booth hasn't really shown too much in his NFL career so far. But the pick that Mel Kiper had is Nate Wiggins, and he did address the quarterback position, which we'll get here in a little bit. We actually have direct quotes from that. But Nate Wiggins, 6'2", 185 pounds, from Atlanta, Georgia, this past season for Clemson. He had 28 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 6 pass breakups, and he definitely is a position of need for the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, the secondary did struggle a lot this year. But Mel Kiper said this on the Vikings drafting Nate Wiggins. He said, "In my final mock draft ahead of the 2023 draft, I projected the Vikings taking a cornerback. Instead, they went with wide receiver Jordan Addison, who had a fantastic rookie season, catching 10 touchdown passes." He carried on to say that need in the secondary still exists. Minnesota ranked 28th in passing yards allowed to receivers last season, giving up 3,019. And 2022 second-rounder Andrew Booth Jr. hasn't quite figured things out. Let's go back to Clemson. Both formers are Booth's former school with the selection of Wiggins here. Wiggins was a lockdown defender in 2023, allowing just 4.2 yards per attempt as the nearest defender in college. And listen, Nate Wiggins, he's kind of that big physical corner that the Vikings could obviously, display here if that is the draft pick. And I'm a fan of Nate Wiggins overall. But the question is with kind of the position of need here for the Vikings. I like what we have in Byron Murphy. I think he is more a cornerback 2. I think we've seen this season, with him as a cornerback 1. We saw DJ Moore have a really big game on him. Then we also saw, obviously, Keenan Allen for the Chargers went for over 200 yards on Byron Murphy. I like him. He was a great signing last season, but is he a true number 1 lockdown corner? I don't think so. I would love him as a more cornerback 2 if Nate Wiggins, projects to be this lockdown corner. I would love that. But Mekhi Blackman, I do want to talk about him for a little bit. I like him. Obviously, he's on the come up this season. Had a really strong rookie year. Definitely outperformed his third-round, value that we got him last season. But I like him. But again, he is more of a cornerback 2, cornerback 3 for this unit. He can play on the outsides, and Nate Wiggins can play on the outsides as well. But I would just overall love the cornerback versatility that Brian Flores would have with Blackman, Murphy, and Nate Wiggins. All 3 of them can play inside and can play outside. But overall, if that's the pick, definitely kind of shores up a big-time issue for this Vikings team being the secondary. But we're going to dive into more around the quarterback here in a second on the later half of today's video. But overall, grade the pick of Nate Wiggins. If it's draft day and we have a video coming out for you guys, and I'm asking you guys this question, how do you feel about the Vikings drafting Nate Wiggins? Give me an A, B, C, D, or F down below. I would give this draft pick A, B+. I actually don't think it's that bad. I know a lot of people are saying, what about the quarterback? What about the quarterback? Or an edge rusher? We need that. Listen, I understand. This is not going to be a flashy pick, and that's okay. I think the Vikings, I think overall they have a lot of blue chippers on the roster, especially on the offensive side of the football. Obviously we do have a ton of talent in Jefferson, Darisaw. They're some of the best at their positions. TJ Hawkinson as well. But defensively, we just need more talent, and specifically in that cornerback room, for a lot of the reasons that I said. Like, I like Byron Murphy, but again, is he more of a true CB1? Don't think so. I think Nate Wiggins, he does have that potential. And this was a scouting report I found on Nate Wiggins, just kind of breaking down his game a little more. It says he's proficient in both off-man and cover 3 zone. That's a great fit with what Brian Flores likes to do. He displays excellent quickness and agility in his movements. He's a top-tier athlete. That's why Kiper, one of the big reasons he had him the number 1 corner was just because of the athlete he is. He's also quick to close space between himself and the receiver. He's obviously big at the next level. You're going to get beat a ton by these NFL wide receivers, and obviously, if he has a good get-back speed, that's obviously good. However, some of his weaknesses: he lacks optimal burst for recovery on vertical routes. He could show more enthusiasm and commitment in run defense, which I don't really know if that's necessarily a weakness. And then also, he would benefit from adding muscle mass. I would love to see him fill out his frame. He would literally look like 2017 Xavier Rhodes if he had 10, 15 more pounds to his frame. But overall, Nate Wiggins, I would like to pick, and we'll dive into more around, what Kiper had to say about the quarterback position here in a second. But I do want to give a big-time shout-out to Game Time, today's sponsor of today's edition of Vikings Now. It is the best ticket purchasing app out there, and is the best seats, lowest price guaranteed. I love using Game Time. Anytime I'm going to a concert, sporting event, whatever requires buying a ticket, I am using Game Time. If you guys use Vikings Chat for first-time users, you guys will get $20 off. Whether it's Timberwolves game, Wild games. Timberwolves are hot right now. If you want to go see Anthony Edwards and the boys play, make sure you guys use that promo code Vikings Chat. If you are a first-time user, you guys will get $20 off. But they also have a big-time deal going on right now for the big game. And this is just for all users. If you guys use promo code Vegas100, you guys will get $100 off to the big game, whether that's between the Chiefs, Ravens, Lions, or Niners, whoever it may be. If you guys use that code Vegas100, new user, long-time user, it does not matter. You guys will get $100 off to that. Realistically, $100 off a ticket that costs a couple $1,000 is not that much, and I think it would come off as disingenuous to pretend it is. But $100 is also $100. So make sure you guys do get hooked up today. $100 off. Use that code Vegas100 if you want to go to the big game. This is what Mel Kiper had to say about the Vikings possibly drafting a quarterback and obviously connecting it back to Kirk Cousins. He said, could the Vikings take a quarterback? For sure. Kirk Cousins is a free agent, and I don't think rookie 5th-rounder Jaren Hall will be the guy long-term. Totally agree. Then he carried on to say, at this point, though, the most likely option might be running it back with Cousins. So adding a starter on defense makes more sense. This obviously could change as we learn more about general manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah's plans. And honestly, this all comes down to Kirk Cousins. If he decides, or whether it's Kwesi decides not to bring him back or Kirk decides not to come back, the Vikings are for sure going to be drafting a quarterback at 11. In terms of the two options the Vikings have, whether it's Kirk or rookie quarterback, I really don't think there is a third. I don't think it's Jaren Hall or Nick Mullins has a slightest possibility of being the starter next season. I think it comes down to what Kirk Cousins decides to do, and you guys know where I stand. I would have him back. He's been a baller in Minnesota. Obviously his reputation and, the Instagram comments may not love Kirk Cousins, but overall, Kirk Cousins, I think he's a great quarterback, and I think he does enough to give you a chance to win a Super Bowl if you obviously fill out the correct roster around him, and he put up great numbers even this year before he got hurt. 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, over 2,300 yards. We know what Kirk Cousins is about. The thing that drove me crazy this season is I actually thought he was playing the best football of his career before he got hurt. Now, the question is, how will you come back coming off that torn Achilles? We'll obviously have to wait and find out. However, if the Vikings do not bring back Kirk Cousins, go all in and trade up for a quarterback. Listen, I'm cool with the Vikings taking this guy right here, J.J. McCarthy, at number 11. But if you don't bring back Kirk, send a haul to the Commanders of the Bears and try to get one of these two guys, Caleb Williams or Drake May. Listen, if you are going to, if Kirk's not the guy, I would want the Vikings, kind of consolidate all their assets and finally go all in for obviously one of these two. I mean, Caleb Williams, generational prospect, talked about him on the channel before. If the Vikings would somehow get him, pair him up with his former USC teammate, Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, I mean, special things could happen. Heard Drake May, the comparison is he's just like a young Justin Herbert, big-time arm, big-time body, great from the pocket, great outside the pocket, can touch every blade of grass on the football field. I love Drake May as well. Now you throw in this kicker in Jaden Daniels. This is kind of the boomer bust guy. And I think Jaden Daniels, how he would turn out in the NFL, will directly reflect or will directly go towards where he ends up going. And I do think the Vikings can offer that good support system. Like I said, you got 2 top-end receivers in the league, got that safety net in TJ Hawkins, and you also have 2 bookend tackles. Combine that with the young offensive head coach. I think if Jaden Daniels is the guy, maybe you trade up to 3, 4, or 5, or 6. I think that would be a great pick as well. But if you're staying at 11, maybe you do take another guy like JJ. But predict it for me. Who will be the Vikings QB Week 1 next season? Who do you think it is going to be? Let me know down in the comments section. But overall, I do think this is what the Vikings will do. This is my prediction. This is what I would do. I would bring back Kirk and draft J.J. McCarthy at 11. I think the Packers are a great example of sitting a quarterback for a year or two ends up working out most of the time. I mean, their ability to go from Favre to Rodgers to obviously Jordan Love is incredible. So I wouldn't hate if the Vikings brought back Kirk and then drafted J.J. I think it would work out for the Vikings long term. But hey, guys, make sure you guys are subscribed. It's going to be a wild offseason here for the Minnesota Vikings. So if you guys don't want to miss a thing, hit that sub button. See you guys next time. Skol Vikes.